Aloha and welcome everyone. This is my second episode where I'm going to talk about Terrace House, but really the first episode where I'm going to break down an episode. I want to give you a recap of what happened in the episode, throw my thoughts in there, look forward to the next episode, and I look forward to your comments, and interactions on this because I don't have anyone to talk about this show with, and it's one of my favorite shows. So with you here, we can talk about, hopefully, if you're interested in the show, you've had time to maybe go on Netflix and, watch a few. We're jumping right into the end of this series. And then, like I said, hopefully I can come back and do this on a regular basis when they start a new series. Some people said that maybe that new series will start before the end of this year. So that would be awesome, like in November or December. But, basically now or early 2018, I think they'll start a new one. But I'm very interested to see where it will be, etc. But let's jump into what we had. It just came up on Netflix about 3 days ago. I've been kind of busy the last few days. And then we're supposed to get another one on the 15th of this month, at least here in Japan. And then we're not sure about the last couple because we really are approaching the end of the season, the end of the Hawaii season. So this one is the 33rd week they've been in the house, and episode 33, and it is called, or number 9 in part 4, if you're like going on Netflix and looking around. It's called The Blues of Bruno Mars. So I thought there was going to be something about going to a concert or CDs or something, I don't know, but it turns out, spoilers for everything, let's just face that right now. Bruno Mars is the name of Chikako's dog that she shares, I guess you'd call it, with her ex-husband. So that is the Bruno Mars in question from the title. So the very first thing that happens is the Screen Lords, the Japanese commentators come on, and they kind of recap what happened last episode. Chikako went out with the new guy, Ryo. She talked to him fairly candidly about her feelings about Taishi, the guilty samurai, and he got back to the house and kind of gave some advice to Taishi to say, hey, slow down, she's kind of in a weird place. She doesn't maybe want the hard press right now. Unfortunately, like the next night they went out on a double date, and Taishi got very drunk, and he doesn't seem like he can hold his liquor very well from a lot of these episodes. And he got really flirty with her, and you could tell she was uncomfortable with it. And even he, I think, later knew that she was not feeling it in that sense. So that was kind of weird to watch, but, she clearly knows that he likes her a lot, etc., etc. But right after they had that whole drunk, he was being very flirty. They were having a good time and everything, but she got home and she got a text message from her ex-husband, who we find out in this episode his name is Cameron. And it just brought her, plummeting back down to reality and earth. She feels very guilty, I think. Divorce is not very common in Japan. You hear all the time about the low birth rate and things and sexless marriages, etc. And, it sounds like it's headline-grabbing stuff, but there's a truth to it. And, you meet people, and I've met, I'm 48 now, I've met couples around my age, and you can tell, talking to usually I'm talking to the guy, but sometimes talking to the wife, and, just talking about their situation and how often they see each other and the things that they do together, etc. It's just not what you would consider a normal marriage. But people don't often get divorced here. It's certainly not near as high a rate as in the West. But she did. She got divorced, and I think, like I said, she feels very guilty about it. So the new episode starts, and Taishi is talking with Ryo about how much he wants to tell, Chikako how he feels, but, he doesn't really need to say anything more at this point. In my opinion, she knows. She knows how he feels. And later in the episode, she even makes mention of this, and I'll get to that in a minute. And then we cut to Chikako talking to one of her friends that went on the double date. They go to a beach and, using some of that nice Hawaii panorama. And it's interesting, just on a technical note, how they shoot the show. It doesn't look like they mic packed them up. They give them kind of lapel mics or something like that. They must shoot with, I don't know what it's called. Somebody tell me what it's called. A directional mic that, you zooms and picks up the conversation. Maybe they do. Maybe they have hidden microphones under their shirts or something. But it doesn't really seem like they do. Obviously, the people that appear on the show, I'm assuming, have to sign waivers to be to say, yes, you can show me on the show. So, like the ex-husband, when he meets up later in the show, he had to agree to do that, and have that filmed and be on camera and stuff. So anyway, so they're sitting on the beach and, just having a casual conversation, which is kind of nice. The way they shoot the show, it doesn't seem very obtrusive. It's hard, with zoom lenses and stuff, they could be quite a ways away from them, but they're still listening to everything they say, of course. And she basically tells her friend on the beach that, the ex-husband is sending me these texts and they really make me feel bad because I want to move forward, I want to move on, I don't want to live in the past. And every time he does this, it makes, it just brings me right back to all that sadness and guilt. So she says, you've got to meet up with him and you've got to just tell him, this is how it is. She's 28. She's certainly got plenty of time to start again and find someone new, etc., etc. Then we have the opening credits. So after about 7 minutes of banter and then the Screen Lords and then some bits of the episode, we get the opening credits with the introduction of all the characters. And the opening song from Taylor Swift. Then we get right into a really heavy scene where Chikako meets her ex-husband, Cameron. He's not Japanese. I can't tell if he's Hawaiian or just a white guy, for lack of a better term. They spoke English during a lot of their conversation, but he does speak some Japanese at the very beginning. He writes her a note, though, in a card, and she's reading it later, and it's all in English and stuff. So it's hard to say if that was a tension in their marriage, the language. And so she basically lays it out for him that she doesn't want to live in the past anymore. She still wants to see Bruno Mars, their dog, from time to time, but she'll forego that and give up on the dog if it means that when she comes over, it's too hard for him to see her and stuff. But he seems very adult about it. He doesn't break down and cry. He doesn't beg, he just says, I will always love you and stuff like that. So you can see there's still feelings there. And this is maybe clouding the way she's responding to Taishi. So it's a pretty serious scene for this series. We don't often have really adult situations like that because a lot of the participants are much younger. Both of these people were 28 and they'd gone through some stuff and divorced and so it was interesting to see that. Certainly a bit of a heavy scene, and at the very end, she's reading his note out by a bus stop, and there's a trash can right there. And I thought for sure she was gonna rip it up and just bin it, throw it in the trash can and be like, "Oh, I'm done with him" or something, some dramatic gesture. But she doesn't. She just reads it, looks sad, and puts it away back in her purse and walks away. So then we cut back to the Screen Lords. And they talk a little bit about, the situation and how Cameron seemed like a decent fellow enough, and they're glad that she can maybe move on. She returns to the house and immediately goes to talk to Taishi as we cut back to the action. And it's about 10:30 at night, and he's already in bed. So she kind of wakes him up a little bit, but he's not totally asleep. He's still got his hat on backwards. I hate guys that wear a baseball cap 24/7. Take it off sometimes. But he's very restrained. He sits there and he's listening to her. I'm not sure how much that's because he's groggy and asleep or because he, again, is trying to give her space now that he kind of has taken that approach. And later on you find out that he was actually very scared, what she was going to say. He perhaps thought she was going to say, look, I just can't see you anymore. I want to break up. But that's not what she says. She just says, I want to be very open that this is happening. I went and saw my ex and, we have this history. I'm trying to move on, but I just want you to know that I probably will see him from time to time because I want to see my dog. and stuff like that. So it was a very decent scene, and he is pretty good in it. We cut to Wes, who is setting up a photo shoot, no, a video shoot for a music video that he wants to make, and it's a weird meeting. And there's a girl there that later on the Screen Lords, when they're talking about that scene, they're like, yeah, he tapped that. Now, I don't know how to say he tapped that in Japanese. You'll have to watch the show, but it was really funny because they all agree, you know, the way he was just so... He's such a terrible character. I mean, I call them characters, but I guess you have to say person. He's just not a very nice guy, and he doesn't treat women well. He seems very entitled, but his music is, from what I've sampled in the show, is not good at all. I really just don't like him, and he sucks the life out of any kind of scene he's in. It's clear that the only reason he agreed to be on the show, because he's in it so little, is because he wanted people to, you know, go on iTunes and look his name up and maybe download his music. It was a complete, you know, promotional ploy. And one of the Screen Lords even says, like, you know, why, this is not cost effective. Why are we paying this guy, you know, to live in Hawaii and promote himself? You know, like, they all know. None of them like him. So we share that together. But anyway, that's probably going to be his dramatic send-off. But he mentions how he has to finish the video before the show ends. So we're starting to hear this more and more. Then the three boys from the house, Ryo, Wes, and Taishi, go out to an izakaya, and they meet Eric, who was on the show earlier in the season, and two of the members of the Tokyo season who happen to be in Hawaii, Armand and Masako, or Martha is her nickname. And that's and they all, the six of them, so only one girl and five boys, they all go out to an izakaya, like a Japanese pub, and are sitting around. And of course, Taishi's drinking too much and starts to get a little loose-lipped. And he starts to talk to Eric about the whole situation with Cherry and the Russian guy. And so, you know, Eric's giving his side of the story, and then they're starting to badmouth her and how she doesn't really respect anyone. And so that's kind of an undercurrent of that thing. And then we cut back to the Screen Lords for the last time, and you know, they're like, "Whoa, we weren't ready for them to all gang up on, you know, Cherry like that." Cherry. I don't know how she says her name. I think it's Sherry. And so they were kind of taken aback by that. And then, of course, they all talked about how Wes is not a very good person. And then Mariko had asked Wes out. She's like, "Hey, are you free tomorrow? Can we go out to a bar? I know you like to drink." And he's like, "Oh, okay, sure." But the way he says it is so dismissive and just so laconic, and he has no like, "Oh, you're asking, that's so nice of you." You know, he's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever," you know. He's just not a good person. So they pick up on that, and later we find out why, in the last part of the episode, we find out why she asked him out. So supposedly Cherry had told Mariko, Sherry had told Mariko that Mariko's one of the newest members. She's about 26. And that Wes had said something bad about her, and Sherry used the word hate when conveying the message, like, he hates you. And that's pretty strong. And I mean, I realize that, you know, these people are adults, that, you know, everybody sitting around the table in the last part of the episode was over 25 years old. And Wes is just about to have his 30th birthday. So these are not people that should be getting upset, you know, when, "Oh, he hates me. Oh, my roomie." I mean, you know, you can be upset, but I mean, she just starts crying and leaves the table, and it's a little crazy. So she comes back to the table, and Chikako is kind of telling the guys, filling them in on what's happened. And Wes is like, "No, look, I said, look, some of our personality is incompatible, and I'm not sure how to read you sometimes, but I never said I hated you." And Monika's like, "Oh, well, that's good. I don't know why Sherry would say that." And she's the one person out of the six that's not there. to defend herself or to say anything. And that's when Taishi jumps in with what they've been talking about at the Izakaya and says, look, you know, don't feel bad. She's done this to all of us. She doesn't really respect people. We should really confront her. And then the episode kind of ends. So that's where they're probably going to pick up next time. The next episode is called Breakdown, so you know you're in for some more emotional gymnastics. And yeah, it wasn't a great episode. There wasn't a lot of fun stuff happening. It was a pretty heavy episode. You know, I'm not a huge fan of some of these cast members at the very end of the show, unfortunately. And I mean, 2 of them just arrived, so you're barely going to get to know them with only like 3 episodes left. But I will be back in about a week, I guess, probably then. Or even less. If it's on the 15th, yeah, I could maybe do that this coming up weekend. And tell you what happens in episode 34. And hopefully it'll be some wrapping up of some stuff. We've obviously got the Taishi Chikako thing. Will they or won't they? It's his birthday coming up, Taishi, and Ryo's kind of pressuring him to, like, you know, profess his love for her and say, be my boyfriend on his birthday, because it's right at the very end before they're all going to have to leave the house. And I guess her main problem is it's long distance. He's going to go back to LA where he lives, and she's going to stay in Hawaii. So if they tried to start something, it would be a long distance relationship. So who knows, maybe that'll be the dramatic twist at the very end, is she's either going to go to LA with him to really get away from her ex-husband, or he's going to stay in Hawaii, or I don't know. But so there is some fun stuff coming up. Hopefully, next week sounds like it's going to be a heavy episode, though. So tell me what you thought. 16 minutes. Wow, if you watched all the way to the end. Spider-Man thanks you. The Spider-Man coaster, where I put my drink, he says thank you for tuning in all the way to the end. And I'll do another one of these, like I said, in about a week for the new episode. Yeah, leave comments. Tell me what I got wrong. Tell me your thoughts on how the season's going. Tell me what you think is going to happen in the last few episodes. And we'll talk more next time. Okay, guys. Terrace House out. Peace.